Good evening, everyone. As most of you probably know, we are the Canton Community Band. We've been playing here in Milton for a number of years, thanks to the support of Jim Mullen, who is a former selectman. And we, of course, have to give a special kudo out to the Parks and Recreation Department and Bonnie DeVore. So thank you for being so helpful with getting us to play here so often. We really enjoy it. And you know, the band is almost 100 years old. It was formed in 1927 as the Canton Legion Band, following a few years after the end of World War I. And except for a brief hiatus during the Second World War, it has continued, was picked up again around 1960, and here we are. So in 2027, which is 2 years from now, we will be 100 years old. So we have a big celebration planned, and we look forward to having you come to our concerts this year and next year, and in 2027, I hope. So, we are and by the way, I see some children in the band. How many of you love a parade? A parade? Would you like to be in a parade? So, hang on to your hats, because later on in the program, we're going to have a special parade, and we're going to feature all of the youngsters, and anybody under 100 can be a youngster, you know, for a half an hour. And we'll have a parade around the yard. So to open the concert, we are now going to play the national anthem. Please stand if you are able. Well, as New Englanders, we all know that these parts of the colony of Massachusetts played an integral part in the Revolutionary War. And of course, we are now celebrating this year the 250th anniversary of the events that led up to that war. And among them was a battle which actually was fought on Breed's Hill in Charlestown, but it's called it was called the Battle of Bunker Hill. So now we are going to play a march. What's a band concert without plenty of marches? It's the Bunker Hill March.
I'm going to bring Tim Fay up here. He's a Milton High School graduate, and he's studying music at DePaul University in Chicago. So he's helping us out in the summer, so I figure I'd give him the opportunity to conduct the first march.
Okay.
Tim Fay.
We will be continuing with our patriotic theme. As I mentioned, certainly this part of the country was an integral part of the Revolutionary War. And the next number is called the American Revolution War Medley. And it's actually a musical painting, if you will, of the different, some of the different events that happened during the Revolution. Wars, battles, things that would be represented here musically. And before we start, however, I do want to mention something that I neglected to mention at the very beginning. You know, we have had many, many years of a very beloved band member who unfortunately passed away in April due to a long battle with cancer. Her name was Melita Quesada. She was one of the mainstays of this band. There were jobs behind the scenes that she did, and she did uniforms, she booked gigs, She was just one of the absolute mainstays of this band. And she was shorter than I am, and she played the tuba and the trombone. And we miss her very, very much. So we are dedicating our summer series to her in her memory. Well, it looks like several of those kids are warming up for the big parade in a little while, huh? We continue with our next segment of music in keeping with the Revolutionary War. And the name of it's again another march, and the name of it is the Federal March. It was actually written by an English-born American whose name was Alex Renagel. It was the first music specifically written for the new nation, the United States of America. And following the ratification of the Constitution, after the 10th state ratified, because of course we needed only a 2/3 majority for it to pass, and it was played for the first time on July 4th, 1788 in Philadelphia. So here we go with the same march that's over 200 years old. What a nice audience we have here tonight. And I'm wondering, how many of you played an instrument in high school or college? And how many of you are thinking, "Yeah, you know, I haven't touched the horn for a few years, but I'd sure like to get back into it"? Well, now's your big chance. We are always looking for new members. Anyone playing a band instrument with at least a high school proficiency. There's no audition required. And we have people in our band from the teenage years up to one gentleman who unfortunately can't be here tonight, who just celebrated his 100th birthday. He still plays, he practices every day, and we had a great big party for him in April thanks to his daughter. It was a surprise party for him, and we played, and it was a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in the band. We learn a lot. Gary's a great teacher, and we're always looking for new people. So if you're interested, go to our website, Canton Community Band. It will give you information about when we practice, which is Thursday evenings at the Pappas School in Canton. And there are also some contact information there. Don't be bashful. Even if you haven't played the horn in a while, go in the closet, take it out of the case, dust it off, and come with us and have a little fun. And of course, a lot of band music is composed by people who write a lot of marches. And of course, when you think of marches, you think of John Philip Sousa, but there were others. And this next march that we're going to play actually has to do with the Revolutionary period. The name of it is the Lexington March, but it was actually written in 1945 during World War II by Carl King. Carl King was a composer in the beginning of the 20th century. He wrote many marches, many of which were played by circuses. You know, in those days they had traveling circuses going from town to town in tents. And so this is the Lexington March. And at this time, I'm going to do a little costume change. But children, here's your chance to be in the parade. And parents, if you feel that your youngster is too young to do it by themselves, you're certainly welcome as well.
Come on, kids. We need all the kids to come on down. We're going to have a parade. All you kids, come on out here. Come on. Come on. Come on out. Hey, come on, guys. Yeah, we're going to have a parade. Come on now. Hey, here we go. Here's the drum major right here. Does she look pretty sharp or what? Okay. This is going to be a lot of fun. You got to march just like you're in the Revolutionary Army, okay? All right.
Yeah, really good. Well, you gotta, you can still play an instrument when you're old and what? So, oh, you like it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, thank you very much for hanging out the lake. Well, that was fun, and nobody fell in a gopher hole or anything, so I guess we can continue. The next number, we'll start a second portion of our concert. It's Ballet Parisien, which is actually a collation of tunes written by Offenbach, put together as a show. It was actually put together in this arrangement in the 1930s. You will probably recognize some of the tunes, especially the tune that we refer to as the Canton. So here we go with Ballet Parisien. Jim Mellon, would you like to come up and say a few words now?
We're going to fit you right in the middle.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Canton. In front of the cemetery. Remember?
Good evening, good evening. Do I have this thing on? Do I have this thing on? I'm James Mullen, and I welcome you all here. I wanted to come tonight to thank the band for so many years of coming and performing. And I'd like to give you a little history of this gazebo briefly. When the bands used to come, they used to play right up here on the walkway to the town hall. And one day, one of our residents, Baron Hugo, who some of you people might remember, an older gentleman, he had a band at the Totem Pole in Norumbega Park in Newton. I don't even remember that, but we were in Rotary together, and one day Baron got the idea and decided he would like to donate a gazebo to the town of Milton for the joy of the people of the town of Milton. And so, this being Milton, of course, it was controversial. So some people were against it. And I looked up the vote to be sure I had the correct vote, so I couldn't be criticized for an incorrect vote. But we had a town meeting vote. It was a mail-in ballot like we have today. But this was back in 1990, and the town meeting members voted 119 in favor of having the gazebo and 93 opposed. So we went forward with the construction of this gazebo, and when you think of the thousands of Milton people who have enjoyed this gazebo and all of these concerts over the years, what a marvelous, marvelous donation from Baron Hugo. Two residents of the town, one being Ken Lodge, who was a performer in this band, and one of our other townies, Dr. Wild Bill Dolan, took up the charge and led the charge for the building of this gazebo. Then we ran into another snag that the gazebo was not handicapped accessible. So it was all barricaded off with tape, and it was not able to be used. So we had to build this access ramp, and I was charged with asking Baron for even more money to build this ramp. And so one day after Rotary, I spoke with him and said, we have to make the gazebo handicapped accessible. And he said, okay, if we do, can they use it? And I said, yes. He reaches in his pocket and takes out a check and says, well, how much is it? And I forget what it was at the time, but he wrote out a check at that time and gave it to me, and we made the gazebo handicapped accessible. But the Milton people have been so wonderful to me. I was in elected office for 44 years, and so I'm so grateful and thankful to the people of the town of Milton for the opportunity to have served. Baron has a tribute to his late wife over here next on the side of the gazebo here. When the gazebo was built, various organizations in town sponsored the concerts, the various concerts. And this band was sponsored by the Milton Town Club, who was run by another hardworking Milton citizen, John L. Woods, who I was the treasurer at the time, and I said, we'll sponsor, the Town Club of Milton will sponsor the concert from the Canton band. And so we did for many years until, as so many civic organizations, we get down to 2 tables. John used to fill the the hall down at Cunningham Park with the town club, but as all the various civic organizations have died out, we get down to 2 tables, so finally the town club went out of business. And I received a letter after that from the then Sarah Judge, who was a member of this group, thanking me for the years that the town club sponsored this concert. And at that point, we had gone out of business, and at that point I said, hell, the Milton people have been very, very good to me. I can do this. And so for the past several years, I have sponsored this band, and I'm very, very thankful to have done that and provide some entertainment for the Milton people. I think I'm going to say thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for all these years. And very, very much appreciated. And I thank you for the opportunity to say a few words. Thank you.
The next piece is On a Hymn Song by Philip Bliss. we're going to take a little moment to have a little fun. The Canton Band has a clarinet ensemble made up of the front row here. And we go around and we play at different places, nursing homes, memory care, and we have quite a wide selection. So we're going to just play a couple of short numbers today. The first one will be Pirates, and then the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. And then we'll get right back to our more entertaining part of the program. And now the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. Thank you very much. We're going to go to our next piece, the instant concert. And in this piece, it's a very fun piece. You're going to hear 30 different melodies that are going to come at you at different times. So see how many you can recognize.
There are many, many composers, American composers, who wrote all kinds of music at the beginning of the 20th century. And there was a team of brothers, George and Ira Gershwin. An interesting story. They were born of two Russian Jewish immigrants, and their father wanted them to learn music. So he bought a piano, intending that it would be for the older boy, Ira. But George, who was a younger person, was the kind of person who could hear a tune once and play it. So naturally, he became the musician, the one who wrote the music to many tunes, and his brother Ira wrote the lyrics. The tune we're going to play tonight is from a show, and he was just influenced by jazz, he was influenced by Rhapsody in Blue, but this one, very appropriate for tonight, Strike Up the Band. It's so heartwarming for all of us to see people of all ages, from little tiny people to older people like me, enjoying the concert. So I'm very, very thank you for coming. Our next presentation is music from a show that originally was produced in 2003. And it was based on a book. It was based on a book, the story of two witches. And the whole gist of it was these two people who had become very involved in, well, I guess you'd say witchery. It became very, very popular, was surpassed on number of performances only by Phantom of the Opera and then The Lion King. So we have for you tonight music from the show Wicked. we've had something by the Gershwins, and now we're going to have something written by someone of the same era who actually has New England roots, and that's George M. Cohan. He was born in Providence, and he, of course, wrote and played the piano. And as a young man, he had a job as a song pusher. In other words, he would go into various places and play new tunes, hoping that people would buy the sheet music for their pianos. This tune is one of the patriotic tunes that you hear a lot around the 4th of July, very appropriate for this time of year. It's a Grand Old Flag.
We're going to play is one of our last pieces. One of them is A Torch of Liberty by Carl King.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. And it's wonderful to play a concert here, such nice weather, and having live music. We're going to close with Pennsylvania Polka.